Hey guys, it's Will with Terrible Infant. Just kind of a random video here. So I'm going to be talking today about the difference between the Japanese cut of the first Kill Bill film and the kind of like the standard US theatrical release cut. So the reason I'm talking about this specifically is that I lived in Tokyo when the first Kill Bill came out. And so I saw it in Japan. I didn't realize that it was a different cut than what was being shown in the US until a friend of mine in Japan went to Thailand and he brought me back a bootleg DVD of Kill Bill because he knew I liked Tarantino. And that was the US version. So I watched that and I was like, wait a minute, what? This is different. So I've only seen the Japanese film the one time, but after I saw the US version, which was only a few months later, I like wrote down all the differences that I remembered. And funnily enough, I went and I looked up the differences online when I decided to do this video, and I remembered almost all of them. So hey, how do you like that? 15 years later, my memory's not that terrible. Wait, 17? Oh my God, has it been that long? 2003, what's 20? Yeah, so 16 and a half years ago. Good Lord. Anyway, and I have, as proof that I saw Kill Bill in Japan, this is like the Japanese lobby book for the first Kill Bill film. I also saw Kill Bill 2 in... Did I see that in Japan? I'd have to know when it came out, honestly. But I think I may have seen that in Japan, too. This is really cool, though. It's got, like, all of these... obviously it's got photos from the film, but it's like... There's a little thing called... here, like, what is the story of the film? But there's something I was just looking at that's really cool. Yeah. Quentin Tarantino, it says X-rated, 18 adults only, and then this is a little article, and it's called The Movie Born in the Trash. And the sections of the film are the Shaw Brothers, Sonny Chiba, Spaghetti Westerns, Blaxploitation, Vengeance Woman, Samurai Violence, and Japanese Monster Movie. And so it's like the anatomy, basically, of the influences of Kill Bill. Here's an interview with Uma Thurman. Obviously, this is all in Japanese. Here's interview with the production designer. Here's like a little bit about the anime sequence. Cast interviews, Lucy Liu, Sonny Chiba, Daryl Hannah. Some more photographs. So this is just really, really cool, and I'm really glad I bought this and had it. I think it was 800 yen, which at the time was maybe like $10. So what are the differences? Basically, the Japanese movie, or the Japanese version, is just more violent and more explicitly violent, and I think that's because the way that the rating system works there versus here, they're allowed to get away with a lot more. And I think that if they had released the Japanese cut in the US, it may have been like pushing NC-17 boundaries. So there are a couple like subtle differences. So for instance, in the title cards, in the US version, there's like, they show the name of the effects company that did the visual effects for the film. And in the Japanese film, I think that's replaced by the company that did the anime sequence, because obviously that would be like a bigger draw in Japan, because it's, Japanese animation and stuff. In the sequence where she fights Vivica Fox, the shots are different. It's like the same sequence, it's the same length, I think, but like for instance, when they go into the kitchen, there are a lot of overhead shots, and or maybe not a lot, but like there are very distinct, obvious overhead shots, and there are different inserts than there are in the US version. So it's like an insert of like a couple coffee cups like side by side and like kind of stuff like that. And I think Tarantino's inserts are really interesting, and the coverage that he shoots is, I think, very unique, and one of the things that gives him his directorial style. So it's really interesting to me to see like that. I went and looked this up, like I said, and so you can see side by side comparisons, and just to see like they shot these different, coverage shots, and they decided to put this one here and this one there, or whatever. But the coverage is always just very interesting, the way he shoots it. It's not like typical kind of boring, we'll cut in here, we'll cut in there, we'll get that close up, whatever kind of coverage. It's obviously very deliberately considered coverage. So the two major differences that I remember are, so in the US version, in the House of Blue Leaves sequence, Uma Thurman rips out that guy's eye, and it goes to black and white. The Japanese version, the whole sequence is in color. So it's a lot bloodier. There are also really violent, like little instances that are cut out of the US version. So if I remember correctly, in the Japanese version, she takes the eye and shoves it down someone's throat, and they choke on it. And I don't think that's in the US version. There's like a couple scenes where she just cuts people to pieces that are taken out. Sophie Sophie Fatale is the name of the character. Is when she gets her arm cut off and she's lying on the ground screaming. They cut away to that more. And that's the kind of thing where, like, it's not after her arm is cut off and the blood is all sprayed out. It's not that violent, but it's disturbing, right? And it's very easy to get an NC-17 for very disturbing material. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, they cut out footage of this woman rolling around on the ground with one arm screaming because they were worried that it was pushing it too far. So the other thing that's noticeably different is at the end of the film, when the bride has Sophie Fatale in her trunk, she cuts off one of her arms, and then we cut to Bill. In the Japanese version, she cuts off both of her arms, and it's a lot bloodier, and there's like more of a scene there where she asks her a question, and Sophie Fatale doesn't say anything to her, and then she cuts that other arm off, and the blood sprays everywhere and stuff like that. So those are like really the big differences. The Japanese version is just bloodier and it's more disgusting. And the anime sequence is actually different, but the anime sequence is only different in that certain shots were removed. So there's like a scene where Oren Ishii's dad crushes someone's head, I think, against a wall. And in the US version, you see the crush happening, but you don't see the after effects of it. And I think you do in the Japanese version. And then when she kills the gang boss, I think there's more footage of that and like the graphic violence of it too, and then also it's kind of like creepily sexual, right? I think there's a little bit more of that too, because I think you can probably get away with more of that under the Japanese rating system. So that's basically that. I'll include a link in the description of this video to where the site that I found when I looked it up and where you can see these side by side images and stuff like that. That's if you're watching on YouTube. Here's my little lobby book, Kill Bill Volume 1, purchased in Tokyo. I think I saw this movie in Shibuya. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw it at the Shibuya 109 Tower. There's like a movie theater behind there somewhere. I think I saw it there. But again, it was 16 and a half years ago. What do I remember? So my name is Will. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.